Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 8 of season 2 of our F1 2020 My Team career mode, where today we're here back for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now obviously if you missed out on yesterday's video, I would definitely recommend going back and checking that one out. Obviously the Monaco Grand Prix, the most glamorous track on the Formula 1 calendar. Yeah, definitely a race worth watching as well at the end of the day. Obviously if you've missed any videos, click the eye, top right hand side of your screens. Obviously there'll be a link to the full playlist as well from this series. But some big news heading into this weekend's Grand Prix. We are officially best of the rest now in Formula 1. We are very close to Red Bull, who really haven't performed at that level anyway. And we're also very close to Ferrari as well. Now coming into this weekend, unfortunately we did have one upgrade fail. So we will need to get that sorted and hopefully on the car before the next Grand Prix weekend. Now, I think at the Canadian GP, it might be... Is it Canada before Austria or Austria before Canada? I can't quite remember, unfortunately, there. But yeah, hopefully, once we've got those couple of upgrades ready on the car as well, we could be looking as a real frontrunner throughout the second half of this season here. So hopefully we can try and build on our consistency. Obviously, we need to try and get that upgrade sorted on the chassis, so we only need 60 R&D points for that. So hopefully, yeah, we can get that sorted this weekend as well. And the best way to earn those 60 R&D points is, of course, heading into practice. Coming to the end of free practice then, and it's safe to say our top-end speed might be quite a carry this weekend. Although saying that, we're now not really gaining anything on our qualifying simulation run. In all the other practice programs, we've been making like a second up out of the final corner down towards the finish line. We've still gained a little bit, but we're way off on the qualifying simulation run. That's because it's being done on the higher AI level. Obviously, I know I keep getting questioned about it, but we're running 104 in the races and 102 in qualifying at the moment, as new fastest lap of the weekend so far. So, practice done and dusted, and another 1400 R&D points therefore now in the books. We should be able to get the engine cover distribution upgrade back on the car. Like I mentioned in the last one though, we're starting to run out of upgrades we can do at the moment without being able to upgrade the facilities, except for on the aero department. We have still got a fair few that we can do here. We're gonna try and get the diffuser additional strakes upgrade as well on to the car. That should be ready just after the Canadian Grand Prix, so there's no real point rushing it either way, because it's going to get done, fingers crossed, before the French Grand Prix just after that. But yeah, we've sort of just got a few little upgrades in this cluster that we haven't been able to get on the car just yet. But in terms of now, if all these upgrades went on, we would basically be, yeah, the best team in Formula 1. It has been quite a weird divide where the midfield, the top of the midfield and the front runners have really bunched up at the moment. So Season 2 probably won't be our year, but unless we get a lot of rule changes, I am very much eyeing up Season 3 already at the moment. Anyway, less worrying about that, more worrying about qualifying here in Baku. Charles Leclerc has managed to be out of qualifying here as he stacked it on track. So I've never seen that before in a Formula 1 game, someone retiring from a qualifying session, but that moves us up into P21 then at the moment. Mercedes is already down on the 38.4s, that's a second quicker than our qualifying time from last year. Yeah, Charles Leclerc has binned it, I have no idea how, in qualifying on the run towards turn 1. Very weird for the Alfa Romeo driver, but we need to try and get, I'm going to guess, yeah, a high 38, maybe a 39.0 if we want to try and sneak into Q2 here. Not much quicker than our qualifying time from last year, but just like Monaco, not the easiest track to sort of find a lot of time through upgrades. Coming out of the final proper corner then, through the final chicane, that really isn't much of a challenge nowadays in a Formula 1 car. Obviously when this track debuted back in 2016, it was a little bit sort of butt-clenching, I think is probably the best way to describe it. But down towards the start-finish line then, you just watch the clock slowly tick by. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 39.4. 15th at the moment, nowhere near good enough. Simple as that. With the new braking model, it certainly has made Turn 8 a whole lot more daunting now in Formula 1, but I'm sort of hoping now we can actually close it a bit to the back of whichever Haas car it is. Maybe they can give us a little bit of tow down in through the final couple of corners. We found a little bit of time through there. Things you love to see. Make sure we get a nice tidy run out of the final turn. Use up all the curbing on the exit. We are going to be about 3/10 up on the run towards the start-finish line. Scroll off as little speed as you dare through the final chicane. Yeah, we're going to be about 3/10 up as we head down towards the start-finish line. Hopefully, should be enough to get us through into Q2. You can see signs just at the road 3/10 quicker. We're down to 16th. We go back up to 15th, I think, at the end of Q2. End of Q1 even. Yes, there we go. We are through into Q2. A very, very sloppy lap in the end. So we'll take that rather happily when all is said and done. Who has gone out in the first session? George there. You can see 1,000th of a second off Lewis Hamilton. But the AlphaTauri Gasly looking quick as well. You can see us down in 15th. Only got through by 1/10 of a second. But Nick de Vries, Danny Rick out in Q1. Lando Norris out in Q1. Both Williams and Charles Leclerc, obviously, who managed to crash in qualifying. A bit of a mixed up end to Q1 then. Quite surprised, obviously, I think K-Mag, that's the first time he's got through to Q2 this year. Matsushita as well, looking very, very strong this weekend. But anyway, yeah, let's see if we can try and sneak through into Q3. So here we go then, out into Q2, looking a little bit overcast now. I don't know if that's going to cost us a little bit of time on this run, but we do definitely need a 38 if we want to be looking at Q3 here. So hopefully we can try and nail this lap in. It's that horrible balance between trying to get as close to without clipping a lot of the curbs around here, at least on the entries. On the exits, you want to be using up as much curbing as you dare. Just got to open up this track as best as possible, avoid the wheel spin as well. An okay run through the first couple of corners, a little bit early on the brakes down in towards turn 1, but better safe than sorry, I suppose. Nice run through there, nice and tidy. Just trying to keep it smooth, keep it clean, and keep it sensible at the moment. We've survived the first sector. I think we were not too scrappy there. Just trying to avoid the curb still. A little bit of wheel spin there. We dinked the wall. That shouldn't cost us anything. Ride the curbs in towards the most infamous corner of the lap. Try and just take as much curb as you dare through there. Third gear all the way through. Then you use second for that kink, get the rotation through. Up to fourth again. Trying to avoid the wheel spin as you head through the old parts of the town. Again, just skimming the wall there. Pushing the car to the absolute limits. We're going to brake just at the black box. A horrible little braking zone. But we just about get it slowed down in time. One more proper corner to go then. Brake at the 100-metre board. Accidentally clipping the curb. Use up all the exit curbs. Try and give yourself the run down towards the start-finish line. It's been an okay lap. Certainly don't think there was a huge amount more time to be found through there. But now you just wait and wait as you make the run to the finish line here. What's it going to be at the end of Q2? Shortest run to the line. You can see a 1:37, a 1:38, a 1:38.6. That was a good lap. P7 in the end there. Very, very happy with that one to get it hooked up at the end of qualifying there. So that's going to be us up into Q3. The first time ever we've successfully got both cars through into Q3 there. And yeah, that is a clear example that we are definitely the third best team in Formula 1 at the moment. And ourselves and Racing Point, neither of us all too far away from Mercedes and Ferrari there as well. It is some promising signs at the moment. Only a 10th of our teammate George Russell. But we've got to try and we've got to try and get it hooked up one final time then here in Baku. Albon out, Raikkonen out, Matsushita out, Gasly out, Kvyat out, and Magnussen out in Q2. They're 5 teams out in Q2, but all that remains, both Ferraris, both Mercedes, both 2-2 Motorsport cars, both Racing Points, a Renault and a McLaren. One final lap then here from the Baku City Circuit in qualifying. It's got a little bit sunnier again, ready for Q3, but clearly, yeah, the clouds are looming around the track at the moment here in the heart of Azerbaijan. But let's see if we can try and get one final lap nailed up then. We had a fairly decent run last time around. If we can match that, I'd probably be rather happy. But let's see if we can just find a little bit more. Sweat mode is probably going to need to be engaged on this final run here in Q3. fairly okay lap so far. Hamilton almost into the 37s. That would be quite crazy to see in this session, but we've so far nailed the lap for the most part. Down in towards the final couple of corners then, what are we going to be able to do? Here we go. We're only about a 10th off Lance Stroll at the moment, and we have been very, very quick through the final sector of this lap, as smooth as possible through the final couple of corners, then down towards the start-finish line. We now just watch the clock and see what we can achieve. Sebastian Vettel down in P6 at the moment. We might be able to get close to him. What's it going to be? 37, 38, or 38.5? I think that might have been 7th place, maybe 8th. 8th place. Ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We'll take that. Based on our race pace, I will take that quite happily. At the end there, you can see just behind our teammate George Russell. I think that's the first time ever we've qualified next to each other. Perez on pole. Where on earth have Racing Point found the pace all of a sudden there? I was just saying about how we were best of the rest, and now Racing Point bagged their first pole of the year. Well, their second ever Formula 1 pole, if I'm not mistaken. 11 years after they were able to get it at the Belgian Grand Prix there. But Perez on pole, Hamilton second, Stroll third, Bottas fourth. It looks like it's going to be a battle of Mercedes versus Racing Point this weekend. I'm all for it. Let's dive in and see what happens.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today, so our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully away from the barriers. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Stroll, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Vettel, Russell, Mr. Monaco, Ocon and Carlos Sainz, Albon, Raikkonen, Nobuharu Matsushita and Gasly, Kvyat, Magnussen, Nick de Vries and Daniel Ricciardo, Norris, Latifi, Leclerc and Jordan King. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
I'm really not too sure why on earth Jeff is still saying that we need to be aiming for top 10 finishes here. It's pretty simple, mate. We're aiming for solid, good, sort of top 6s at the end of the day. But that might be a little bit more difficult this weekend. Racing Point, they've hidden some pace somewhere right until the last minutes of Q3, and then suddenly, bang, pole position and third. They are really in the battle with Mercedes this weekend. We've got both Ferraris just in front of us. This track might not suit them as well as places like Zandvoort, Spain and Monaco recently have, but we're looking good as well here in our car as well. We're on a lot of confidence at the moment. 3 podiums in the opening 7 races. Could we get back to a 50% podium race here today as well? P8, there's a very good chance that's possible this weekend. Obviously, anything can happen at the Baku City Circuit. Remember last season, we stacked it at the castle on that one, and we still were able to get P7, I think it was, at the end of the day. But I think I'm ready then for this Grand Prix. It should be a soft to medium set strategy for the race. We might be able to actually go soft to hards here. Come to think of it, that might just about be doable in this race. Let's just see. Yeah, there we go. So the team does reckon that is actually a little bit quicker as well, but we've got to be very, very good on our tyres at the end of the day as well. But I'm ready to dive right into this then. Hopefully you guys are as well. And yeah, let's head into the race. Round 8 of the season here from Baku. The 5 red lights are coming on now then. It's 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go there. George Russell cat-like reactions off the getaway there, as you can see, heading down in towards turn 1. Bottas not a particularly good start. The same could be said for Sebastian Vettel as we try and have a sneak up the inside through the first couple of corners. Should be able to make that move work. And yeah, both the 212 Motorsport cars past the Ferrari at turn 1 there. Not too sure. Yellow flag's out, just Constantina up, I think a little bit further back. But a good little clean getaway for ourselves. It looks like Perez still leads. Hamilton is under a lot of pressure from Lance Stroll there as George doesn't get the run off turn 3. We might try and look up the inside, keep it clean like we weren't able to at Monaco. And we're now up into P6 of the race there. So a very, very good start for ourselves in the end. Just picking up places where we can. Nice and early on. I'm really, really intrigued to see what Racing Point's race pace is going to be like. They got it hooked up over 1 lap. But whether they can do the same in the race. Perez already looks like he's trying to check out in this Grand Prix as Hamilton seems to be under a lot of pressure from his Canadian teammate Lance Stroll. Remember, both those drivers have had a podium here before in the past. Maybe they can try and get another one here today. But anyway, we've survived the opening lap. We kept it nice and clean and tidy through the castle section. Oh, a little bit deep there though. However, luckily got away with that one without any damage. Let's see if we can stick in the slipstream of Bottas and Verstappen. On to lap 2, and it appears George is already under a lot of pressure from Sebastian just behind us. I think Seb's actually might have just made the move work there, rather unfortunately for ourselves. So yeah, George clearly struggling a little bit with the race pace early on. He just doesn't quite seem to have the confidence still in the early stages of races. We need to try and see if we can up his racecraft as much as possible here. If we want to be fighting for championships, he's rapid over 1 lap, but seems to lose places pretty much weekly at the moment at the start of races. Coming on to lap 3 then, and it already seems that Lance Stroll is beginning to struggle just a little bit more in this Grand Prix. It is, however, helping ourselves out, as I think they're going to be 3 wide almost down in towards turn 3. Bottas is trying to make moves work on the pair of them, and I think he's done it. So Bottas now back up into the podium places. The Canadian just struggling a bit, but it's brought us right back into the DRS window as well, which is exactly what we needed. Otherwise, we were under a lot of pressure from Seb. End of lap 3. Oh, Verstappen flips the curbing through the final couple of corners. That Ferrari doesn't have the best straight line speed in the world, so we might be able to capitalise on this as we head down towards turn 1. DRS has been engaged. We're going to have a look to the inside of Max Verstappen. Purple final sector, a little bit late on the brakes, but we get it slowed down. We keep it between the white lines, but Max is going to come straight back at us as we head down into turn 2. Hopefully we can try and get a bit of a switch back on him, a little bit of contact as we head out of the corner, but it is going to be a drag race now down in towards turn 3, and Renault power versus Ferrari power. It's pretty even. We've got the inside once again though, way too deep into the corner, but we do hold on, and we're now up into 5th.
In first place.
Stroll and Bottas having a bit of a ding-dong as we head on to lap 5 of this race. Hopefully it'll help us get a little bit closer rather than dragging each other along. Stroll still leading, Perez even I should say, still leading the way at the front. However, Hamilton now has broken free and is in pursuit of the Racing Point. They've only won 1 of the last 3 Grand Prix, have Mercedes. I think they're starting to feel the pressure in the same way we saw Ferrari do in Season 1. Coming on towards lap 6 then, you can see just dinking the wall out of the final chicane, but we're closing in just a little bit on Valtteri Bottas at the moment. Obviously he's getting carried along by Stroll. Slipstream is Hamilton very, very early on in this Grand Prix into the pits. We get a little bit over-ambitious through turn 1, avoid the wall on the outside there. But yeah, the tyres, I hadn't even really thought about pitting just yet. They still feel like they're in quite a good little groove at the moment, I'll be honest. 47-50%, they're definitely past their best, I think it's safe to say. But there might be a couple more laps left in him if we need to. Don't really want to pit when George is trying to either, on the other hand. Coming to the end of lap 6, I wonder if we're going to see either of the Racing Points or Bottas diving in. Bottas, a huge wobble out of the final couple of corners there. That was almost an aeroplane crash there for the Mercedes man, but he's not going to dive it in, therefore we are a little bit late over the pit lane line, I'll be honest, as we almost put it into the wall. A bit of a late call there. I think we'll be lucky. Oh my god, George's pit. Why did George follow us in? This was... No, it wasn't my lap to pit, was it? Oh, I'm an idiot. Have I just cost George again another good result here? I do hope not. But, yeah, hopefully now we can try and get the undercut. 2 seconds stop. George, I'm so sorry. But we need to try and focus on our own race still. Every week at the moment, George seems to get just screwed by something or another. But, oh God, what are you doing? It's our former teammate, Jordan King. And it's just a... What are you doing, man? Get on with it. Surely. Safety car, perhaps? I don't know. That's gridlock at turn 2. Safety car's been deployed. We were always going to go up the inside of Jordan King, but that might have just cost us even more. End of lap 7, then we're going to see a load of runners into the pits. We're trying to get as close to the Delta as we possibly can. Where are we going to come out in this Grand Prix as everyone heads down in towards turn 1? No idea what's happened to the FPS as well. We're going to be back down in P13 of this Grand Prix. It has not worked out well for ourselves at the moment. Just Jordan King turned in when we were always there. That really has not worked out well for the team. So safety car is going to be coming in then as we get ready for lap 10 of this Grand Prix. We're back down in P13, so we're going to need to try and get past a lot of slower cars rather quickly here if we still want to try and get some good points on the board. I think the racing points are still at the front of the field, but we need to try and guess when it is going to be green flag racing once again here. We're going to get ready to go. We're going to guess about now. Have we got a bit of a run on Alex Albon? Yes, we definitely have. Albon a bit careful. Down in towards turn 1. No, he's not. Holy moly. Albon right up the inside of about 3 cars there. We get round Matsushita as we light up the rears through the first corner. So we have still made up 1 place as Albon is still trying to go for 7. Stroll only a couple of places in front of us now as well. Not too sure what's happened to him as Ocon now trying to look back past the tied driver there and went for one of the most insane lunges they've ever seen at the start, at a restart in a Grand Prix. We now might try and get a run on Albon, so it was very, very short-lived, all the extra momentum he seemed to have as we get up the inside, up into P11 once again of the Grand Prix, right now outside the points once more. Ocon on that set of mediums is really trying to apply some pressure to Lance Stroll, who's on the hards. I think we've got one of the Ferraris. I think it's Verstappen. I might be wrong. We're still just up the road as well here. But yeah, I think we've actually got a Renault in the lead of the Grand Prix. That must also be Kimi Räikkönen leading yet another Formula 1 race there. But Sergio Perez now looks to be back up the inside of the Renault down in towards turn 1. Stroll's trying to look past Lando Norris as well. So we've got 4 different cars from 4 different teams in a very, very tightly knit battle at the moment. We'll just try and get the run on Esteban Ocon. Loads of wheel spin off the exit there, and it's going to be a drag race now, but it's down in towards turn 3. This is why people love the Baku City circuit. You just get these insane little moments as still Stroll very, very slow off the exit of the corner there. We might try to look up the inside. We are there, mate. You can't just turn in on us. And we move up now into the points once more in this race. Ocon now very, very feisty with Lando Norris as we head through the final couple of corners. Bear in mind, obviously, we've all got Renault power at the moment. We have supposedly got the most sophisticated power unit, but still, all over the back of Lando Norris is the Frenchman as we head out of the final corner. It's going to be a drag race down in towards turn 1. We're gaining massively on the pair of them, utilising the double toe as best as possible here. We've run out of the RS that we could use this lap, but we're going to get up the inside of Lando at the very least, trying to slam the door shut on the exit. There we go. Up into P9 as we got yellow flags out. Who is struggling? It seems to be Perez, who led so much in the early stage of this Grand Prix. Heartbreak for the Racing Point man. Is that going to bring out a second safety car in this race as well? They're gutting for Perez, who looks set for his very first Formula 1 Grand Prix victory. But once again, it has absolutely been taken away from him. Just like we've seen so many times in the past where Perez has been in a great opportunity. Not quite Hulkenberg in his podium streak, but Perez out of the Grand Prix. Luckily he finds an escape road, so no more safety car. Huge train of cars all the way up now to P3 of Lewis Hamilton here. We got an AlphaTauri up in second. Räikkönen still leads this Grand Prix as we reach the halfway stage, but there might be some easy pickings at the moment with just how quick this thing is down the straight. But yeah, everyone just very, very bunched up at this moment. Oh, Ocon a little bit loose out of the final corner there. He just didn't take a particularly good line throughout the entirety of that final chicane. Can we try and close up just a little bit on the run down towards turn 1? We might be able to go for a bit of ascending. He has been a bit cautious on the brakes over the last few laps. Up the inside we go. We've got AlphaTauri is battling, Mercedes battling, but we move past Ocon, back up into P7 of this race. And just look how slow everyone's going at the moment. We might now be able to get a bit of a run on Sebastian Vettel. We've already had a couple of drag races with Ferrari-powered cars this weekend so far. A little bit early on the brakes, but we keep the nose there. He tries to turn in, but double overtake then. And back up into P6 of this Grand Prix as AlphaTauri versus Mercedes, who have their money on that battle heading into this weekend. This race has really thrown up a lot, and we're only halfway there as this so far. I can words, I promise. End of lap 14, the AlphaTauris and the Mercedes still having a very, very first battle just in front of us. Kvyat going a little bit slowly down in towards turn 1. We're very, very deep on the brakes, but that might have worked out alright for us. Kvyat might give us the room into turn 2. We're going to try and go for the cutback on the AlphaTauri. Hamilton's got past him. We are now past him as well. A bit of P5 of this race. I think it's a net P3 at the moment. However, Hamilton's on mediums. He might need to stop again before the end of this race. Tyre wear hasn't been as bad as I think anyone thought it would be so far this Grand Prix, though, and who really knows what's happening anymore. Oh, Hamilton then. That's been decided. He dives into the pits again in this Grand Prix. So Hamilton back in. Bottas now moves himself up into P2 of this race as well then. So all the strategies now are starting to play out. I'm intrigued to know what times Raikkonen's on. To be honest, I've been A, impressed with the fact that he's still out in the lead, and B, impressed with the gap he's been able to build himself over the last few laps as well. 10 laps to go here from Azerbaijan. Boy, does time fly when you're having fun. End of lap 16, we're closing up to the back of Pierre Gasly. Are we going to see Raikkonen in at any time soon? No, the Finn out for yet another lap in this Grand Prix, but we are closing up very much to the back of the AlphaTauri, down in towards turn 1. Nowhere near close enough to go for anything this time round, but we might be able to get something down in towards turn 3. George back into the pits. Well, I might have not exactly helped his race, but I don't think that's been a very good strategy call by the team either. Can we try and get a run on Pierre now? I don't think we're going to be close enough yet again. Oh, Gasly, big mistake there as we head out of the first few corners. In Sector 2, he tries to go defensive on us. Down in towards the castle section. Don't really want to be even considering, or in the nice way possible. The AI is still a little bit funny when they think you're going to go for a move. I don't think I want to be even pretending like I might be going for a move into the castle, because if they go offline turning early, that's called a gridlock, I think, unfortunately, on F1. But hopefully now we can try and get round Pierre. You won't have any DRS off Bottas this lap, so it should be a fairly textbook move on the AlphaTauri. I am, however, worried how much Bottas is pulling away at the moment. But would love to try and make it 2 wins in a row, but not too optimistic at this stage of the day. Through the final chicane we go, though. Gasly a little bit loose there, but yeah, look at the run. We're able to get... Come on, you got to give me some room, mate. Especially when we've got that sort of overspeed over you. And yeah, up into P3 of the race then. Raikkonen out for yet another lap. He's on hards. Is he going to the end of this Grand Prix? Has Raikkonen somehow pulled out an absolute worldie, or did he start on hards and is going to have to pit soon onto a set of softs to the flag? End of lap 18. There we go, Raikkonen. It has been confirmed he's into the pits at the late stage of this race, so he's going to try and go on softs, I think, to the end of this race, as that is very, very late in towards turn 1. We're still holding on to P2 at the moment now, though, in this race. However, Bottas, he's looking quite comfortable at the lead of this race as we wall at the wall. Hamilton goes fastest lap. We get a bit of front wing damage as well. Let's just try and bring this thing home. We could be on for another podium here as long as we keep it tidy. 5 laps to go then here from Baku. Bottas, yeah, is at the front of the field. He's just starting to pull away at the moment, but we're desperately trying to hold a 1 second gap over Sebastian Vettel here between now and the checkered flag. The Ferrari man, yeah, definitely has a little bit more pace over us as we're almost setting PBs still in this race, but the tyres are starting to go off. Obviously that little bit of front wing damage not really helping us out either, but we're just trying to bring it to the flag.
Okay, clear.
Oh, yellow flag's out. Who's that for? I think that's someone behind us in this Grand Prix. It's the other Racing Point. Lance Stroll, I think, is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. So whatever Racing Point have done this weekend to give that car some more pace, it has clearly made it a much, much less reliable beast in the process. They're Stroll out, and we've got a safety car with just a few laps to go over this Grand Prix. How could that change things? So safety car is coming in then with 2 laps to go here in Azerbaijan. We've got a golden opportunity now to try and snatch away victory from Valtteri Bottas, but we've got a couple of very, very quick cars behind us as well. We've got to try and guess when the Mercedes is going to go in this race. Come on. Oh, not quite able to get it right this time around. Actually, saying that, we are going to be able to get a run down in towards turn 1. We'll try and stick the nose up the inside. The tyres got absolutely no temperature in them, but we've made the move work, and we're up into the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We are just snagging the brakes absolutely everywhere, though. This feels like we're driving on ice at the moment. We've got no temps in the front wheels there, but hopefully as we head down in towards turn 3, Bottas, he doesn't try to send it on us this time round. We do hold on to the lead of the restart there, so that has been exactly what we needed. Really, we have no right to even be in this little battle, but the curse for poor Valtteri Bottas every single time we head to this track, whether that be in real life or in sort of game series, Bottas looks to be in control. It's happened on, what, 2, now maybe even 3 occasions in Formula 1, and then it's all fallen away from him in the final couple of laps. That has not helped us out, though. A lot of front wing damage as we head up into the castle section for the penultimate time in this Grand Prix. That will really, really hinder us now.
Let's use overtake and burn some of this energy.
Out onto the back straightaway for the penultimate time in this race. Can we still take the chicane pin? Yes, we can. That is absolutely crucial to know. With just 1 lap to go of this Grand Prix, Bottas is still right there behind us. He's got Vettel right behind him, Leclerc closing in as well, as we've run out of ERS once again around this track. But now we've just got to try and defend for 1 final lap here around this circuit. I'll be honest, I'm surprised Hamilton hasn't been able to get past Charles Leclerc yet as we head through turn 2. Just trying to dance on the throttle. Just try and keep it nice and tidy as we head out the first couple of corners. Bottas, you can see he's gaining on us though rather rapidly as we head down in towards turn 3. Not quite able to go for anything that time round. Still looking at the brakes absolutely everywhere at the moment. These tyres are absolutely shot as we head in towards sector 2 here. Can we do the unthinkable and hold on to a race victory that, yeah, like I said, we never really deserved around this circuit? Bottas has been so much quicker than us all race long. That unlucky safety car for the second of the Racing Points retiring from this Grand Prix has really, really, well, potentially screwed Bottas, but there's a long run to the start-finish line. Can Bottas potentially get back at us? One final big opportunity for him out of the final couple of corners. We're trying to use a bit of ERS there, a lot of understeer as we head down in towards one of the final big braking zones of the lap there. Just keep it tidy, control the pace as we head down in towards the final proper corner of the lap. Try and roll on the power as easily as possible here. We've still got a bit of ERS, we've still got plenty of spare fuel through the chicane for the final time, just blending it through. Now it's just a case of, will Bottas get the slipstream on us? He's not gaining. He isn't gaining enough. We need to try and save the ERS though. We can't afford to use any more. It's going to be 2 in a row as we win here in Baku. A race, like I said, we didn't deserve, but it's 25 points nonetheless.
Fantastic job.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant win here today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race. So let's review the updated driver's standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
So there we are then, the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and from 8th on the grid, we take home the dubs today. Like I said, we really didn't deserve that one, I'll be honest. Bottas looked comfortable until that late safety car came out, and then we just got a little bit lucky, able to capitalise, somehow kept the tyres in a window that made them work throughout those final couple of laps, but just 1/10 of a second at the line there. I think that is the closest finish we've had so far in this series. There's Seb in P3, Charles Leclerc from the back row, 1 second away from race victory there. What a great race by him, with Hamilton in a drag race with him up towards the finish line there. Couldn't quite make the 2-stop work when all is said and done there. Matsushita, his very first points in Formula 1, just like Charles Leclerc a few years ago. He picks up his first points here for Alfa Romeo at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. Verstappen down in 7th, a very quiet day out for him at the end of the day there. And Red Bull, I think for only the 2nd time this season, get both cars into the top 10 there. Albon in 8th, Ricciardo even I should say, sorry, in 9th there. Ocon rounds out the top 10 with Kvyat, Raikkonen, Nick de Vries and George Russell just missing out there. But still, I mean, our teammate George Russell, 14th, 5.5 seconds of the race victory there. Lando and Sainz, 15th and 16th, ahead of Gasly, who got fastest lap for AlphaTauri, down in 17th. Magnussen, Latifi and Jordan King round out the finishers there. Everyone that finished separated by less than 10 seconds at the end of the day there. Stroll and Perez both not making it to the flag though. Heartbreak for Racing Point. I do not know what upgrade they've put on the car this weekend, but I think they need to take it back to the drawing board, in all honesty. Championship-wise though, nothing really too much has changed. We're only 9 points now off Lewis Hamilton, and if we keep upgrading the car at the rate we're going at the moment, we could genuinely be a threat this season for the World Championship there. Bottas still leads the way, 33 clear at the top though, and yeah, the gap to Verstappen now a big 70 points, 37 behind ourselves in 4th there, only 2 points ahead of Vettel. Charles Leclerc has had some banging results in the opening half of this season, still in 6th place there, jumps back past Perez, Kvyat and Ocon. George Russell, our teammate, still in 10th, with Ricciardo jumping Stroll, Albon jumping Raikkonen there, and Matsushita getting the better of Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly. Leaves now just Nick de Vries and the Williams yet to put points on the board there. And constructors-wise, we're just 9 away from Ferrari as well. There is a lot to play for this season, as long as we keep the upgrades going as best as possible here. We've now got half the points of Mercedes as well there. The only swappers though, Alfa Romeo jumping past AlphaTauri and Red Bull back up into P6. There's still a massive battle really going on from 4th Racing Point. Renault, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri and Red Bull, as well as maybe McLaren if they can get their act together as well for best of the rest. But thank you all so much for watching another crazy race from this series. If you enjoyed, make sure you get yourself subscribing. Yeah, we will be back tomorrow where we head to the Canadian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.